In this video, I'm going to show you all the various Hammer films I've got. 4Ks, Blu-Rays, also Hammer box sets, as well as indicator ones, and also StudioCanal, and a few other extra ones as well. So hopefully you find this of interest, and a discussion about various Hammer films. Have you got a favourite Hammer film? Well, for me, Plague of the Zombies is probably it. Well, in fact, probably many of the others are also my favourites, but I thoroughly enjoyed this one. This was before Night of the Living Dead, and the zombies are quite slow moving, and in some cases, not particularly that frightening, though I'm certain I would probably be pretty scared, but I loved it. Absolutely brilliant. Andre Morel, set supposedly in Cornwall, and I recommend that film. Blood on Mummy's Tomb, and this was good as well. Not brilliant, but still decent. And also it comes with a good selection of extras, and this is a StudioCanal one. Got a fair number of StudioCanal. They did a bit of series, about 10 or 12 of them, and they've been generally pretty good. The extras are not the best. My favourites generally are on the indicator ones, which I'm just going to get to a few of those as well. This one, Reptile, I loved it. Very odd film, but still very watchable. I thought it was, you can see it obviously there, always got scenes from the film, in some ways giving away quite often what's going to happen in the film completely. And this one, again, is a Blu-ray. I've got a few 4Ks, but not many. These are generally Blu-ray, likewise these ones as well. Now this one, Visa de Canton, I haven't watched yet. Looking forward to watch it. Looks quite good. Hot from today's headlines, it says. Obviously, this is again 1960s film, and you got here the Western world is still rocking from a series, etc. But it's got a decent selection of extras, and I thoroughly enjoy it. One thing about these, quite often, are the extras, and this one's got, of course, analysis by David Huckvale. I always say his name wrong. Huckvale, and Edwin Astley's score. I thoroughly enjoy his documentaries. They sometimes can be 20 minutes or 10 minutes or 40 minutes, and I'm always fascinated when he discusses all the various things. Also, these often come with audio commentaries, which I thoroughly enjoy as well. This was great. The Damned, sort of Clockwork Orange sort of film with Oliver Reed, set in Weymouth. Sort of scientific research is being done, and it's all very mysterious. It's quite fascinating. Whether it's, yeah, worth seeing. This was a very odd one. Never Take Sweets from a Stranger. Brilliant performances. Patrick Allen was absolutely superb. All the cast was very good in that. And again, it's got a great selection of extras. I must admit, when I was watching it, I suddenly looked at the back and it said Nightmare Manhunt for Maniac Prowler. And I was thinking, that's strange the way that doesn't really seem to be described in the film. But anyway, watch all the way through. Rasputin, the Mad Monk, Christopher Lee, again another StudioCanal one. I love the StudioCanal, but I have to say the indicator ones generally win out for me. But this one is great as well. It's got documentaries, etc. World of Hammer episode costumes, and I'm always fascinated by those sort of things as well. The making of, as well as a little bit more as well. The Witches. Now I haven't watched this one, so Joan Fontaine. Now it's quite possible that I have seen these over the years. I mean, they've obviously turned up on TV many times. So this sort of brand new documentary again, this was 1966. And, well, I love the little slipcase there. It's always good. It always slides out when you least expect it. This was an odd one. Countess Dracula. I'm not saying it was a really great film. It was fine, but Ingrid Pitt. And again, it's got a selection of decent audio commentaries with Ingrid Pitt there. And you can see, obviously, got a few little pics there and things. It gives you all the listing of the thing. It was watchable, but I wouldn't say it was a favourite. Twins of Evil, quite enjoyed that. Peter Cushing, he was really just horrible, but brilliant in it. Dennis Price, and also you've got Mary Madeleine Collison as well there. And that was a good film, very unusual. Of course, lots of these are period settings, and this was, of course, done in some sort of middle European place. Who knows where it is, but it was still very, very watchable. Twins of Evil, it says there, featuring an all-time classic score by Harry Robinson. Though, unfortunately, in this one, it doesn't have a sort of talk about the actual music, which is such a pity when it's obviously says a classic one there. Thoroughly enjoyed this one. Hands of the Ripper. And you got here Gerard Rees, of course, Paul Dark, and Gerard. Yeah. Get her name wrong completely. Eric Porter and Jane Merrow, and that was a Hammer horror there. Now again, this has a selection of, this got an audio commentary, etc. Thriller, Once the Killing. Oh, that was a sort of one-off little production in there, which is always nice. I think it's great when they add a sort of additional film or sort of TV episode or something, which I really like. So that was that. Now this one was very odd. Lust for a Vampire. I would say it's not a favourite, but still it has quite an iconic scene, of course. You've got the character there, you've of course got the Count Dracula character, Ralph Bates, etc. And I did enjoy watching it all the same. It was not the best of films though. And again, it's got, of course, a few little extras. Actually, the extras were quite long. And I thought I was at script to screen. It went through quite a bit of an interesting thing to Love a Vampire, of course, being the original title. Hammer also did lots of historic ones, and this was great. The Scarlet Blade. Thoroughly enjoyable. Lionel Jeffries, Oliver Reed again, he turned up quite a lot in Hammer films. And you got Jack Hedley, of course, Who Pays the Ferryman, one of my favourite TV series. June Thorburn, just brilliant. There's not that many Civil War, that sort of period films made. I mean, obviously there's the famous one, Cromwell, etc. And also By the Sword Divided, etc. But there's not a huge. Please put in the comments below if you can think of some really good ones you can recommend, because we can't think of many that were, obviously Witchfinder General comes to another one just suddenly come to mind. And that's, of course, Tygon one. The Gorgon. This was weird. I wouldn't say it was a favourite. It was fine. It was fine with Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, Barbara Shelley, etc. Again, it's got a decent selection of extras. And again, I'm quite certain it's probably got, so talking about the film music, no, actually saying that, I'm not certain it can. But you've also got the comic strip adaptation, which is always a nice addition, I think. And also they have this sort of section, Hammer's Women, obviously Barbara Shelley at this one, but all the others also have got a similar sort of thing. And I just enjoy those documentaries. This was a great film, Indicator Game, one of their box sets. Now they did a few box sets, the Sherwood Forest one, which I haven't got, unfortunately, the Robin Hood one. That would be nice, but this one, I really love it. Creatures Time Forgot. There's no creatures in it, particularly. I'm not certain the world forgot, but still, I didn't forget it. I thought it was just really odd sort of film because it didn't have any dialogue, but you had some great music. I love the music again. It's got a little wonderful discussion about the music, and that for me is always a key thing. But it also had tons of other things as well. You've got here various things like Skid Kids, A Good Pull Up, some other films as well, which I think is always a lovely addition. Also, you've got Julie Egg, I suppose that's how you say her name. Oh, there is David Huckvale again in the thing. But I always knew it. And also the great thing about these box sets, often you've obviously got this, but you've also got which I find slightly unnecessary, cards. And then, of course, you've got this lovely little book, which I think is just great. Often they have these J cards as well, which I'm not a keen fan of. However, this is one, Brides of Fu Manchu. Now, I haven't seen this one yet. Of course, I have seen this film. I mean, it's a famous one, isn't it? All the Fu Manchu films were shown endlessly on the TV. I don't know how many times I've seen it over the years, but Marry or Die, and again, you've got lots of extras. I'm certain David Huckvale and Kim Newman. Kim Newman is obviously there as well, so he's always good. He always gets a lot of these. An audio commentary with, Jonathan Rigby, who I always thoroughly enjoy as well. Always fascinating. This one, excellent. Scars of Dracula. Probably not for everyone, but Dennis Waterman's just great. Really, really fun. Jenny Hanley there as well. Got a selection of extras. However, I did notice on the Hammer website that they're bringing this out in 4K, so I'm going to be looking forward to that. I might get it because obviously I've got the Blu-ray quality personally on my TV, 4K. There's not that much of a difference. Now, there's a fair amount of extras. Also, of course, there's the booklet, and I've got quite a few of the other part of the Hammer film series, and I probably will look at guessing that one. So that's a possible. Next one, To the Devil a Daughter, is okay. It's obviously Natasha Kinski, Christopher Lee, etc. Again, you've got a limited selection of extras, but it was fine enough. I wouldn't say it's the greatest films, but I enjoyed it. The Mummy Shroud, another mummy film. I generally enjoy the mummy films. This one was good as well, I must admit. Got a selection of extras, and I think it's just, I say, a standard good old mummy film. What more can you say about that? Hound of the Baskervilles. Now, I love this one. Of course, it's been on TV so many times over the years, so I've seen it. But watching it on Blu-ray, really nice quality, and that was just great. Of course, one I bought from Keck. I buy quite a lot of my Blu-rays from Keck. And you got here again lots and lots of special edition extras and etc. I'm certain there's a good bits of the music, etc. I don't know, I can't see there, but certainly probably got the usual regulars there. Kim Newman, I knew Kim Newman was going to be. Kim Newman's virtually on all of them. Always enjoy his little discussions. Taste of Fear. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Christopher Lee was in this one. He was just a very small part, but still very, very. Susan Strasberg. And these sort of films, I don't know, psychological horror sort of nightmare films, generally, I enjoy them. I'm not a mega fan of all the Draculas and Frankensteins particularly. I actually prefer some of these, actually. So this one, I think, has probably got the most. You've got a ton. Jonathan Rigby again. You can see the same sort of names popping up quite often all the way through this, but it's just great. I'm certain there's also a bit about the score as well. Can't see it particularly in that long list, but that's the thing I love about the indicated ones. They are definitely decent value. Get them for often £8, £9.99 or whatever. Their website often has sales, so you can pick up lots and lots of great films at a really good price. Demons of the Mind. I have yet to see this one. I probably have seen it in the past. I don't know. But this one has got Paul Jones and Patrick McGee. He's always good. I always love Patrick McGee. Obviously, Robert Hardy. Robert Hardy. Hey, he's obviously a great actor as well. Again, you've got some lovely extras there, new featurettes, etc. So I'm looking forward to this. Seems here, released in 1972. Now, I did enjoy this series. Hammer House of Horror. It's got 13 Tales of Terror. And it was reasonably priced as well. So, quite a cheap little, decent collection. Again, you've got some special features there, which you can't complain about. Rude Awakening, you've got obviously montage, etc. Commercial breaks as well. Like that. Commercial break stings. Don't know what that means. There's obviously some, but still, huge hit for the ITV. I certainly enjoyed them when they came out at the time. So I'm looking forward to sit and watch them again. And I haven't watched them since that time. So it'd be nice to see. Now, this is one film, 1 million years BC. You know what? I did not realise this was a Hammer film. I suppose I should have known, but still, this one, Raquel Welch, of course, John Richardson, and of course, the film that I just mentioned a bit earlier, that's a sort of similar sort of thing, I guess. So it's part of that series. I think they did another one as well, which I have not got. So you got, again, interviews, etc. Another interview there. And also got storyboards, which I always enjoy, actually. I really love it when they include storyboards. I often flick through those and watch those. Again, 1 million years BC. Yesterday's Enemy. Absolutely masterpiece war film. Definitely worth it. Obviously, Leo McKern, Stanley Baker, Gordon Jackson, etc. Guy Rolfe. And again, got lots and lots of extras. Let's see what it's got. I'm certain it's got usual sort of selection of Hammer women. They do have a similar theme all the way through this, which I always quite like. But again, an audio commentary, I'm certain, is on there somewhere, even if I can't see it. Quite often the list is always, if you're going to go and buy these ones, check on the various listings just to see what is included, if that is something, obviously, that's of interest to you. Phantom of the Opera, of course, if the film is the key thing, which of course it is, the film is going to be the key thing, but I do love to see that there's a decent selection of extras. Heather Sears, she was great. I'm not certain. Herbert Lom, he's fine as well. An unusual film, this one. The greatest thrill classic of all time. I'm not certain I would say that, but certainly still decent enough film, that one. Yet to see this one on this anyway. Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. I love the way they've done these. They've got blues, greens, red. So they've done a mix of different ones. So this special edition, I do love the inclusion of Blu-ray and a DVD. I think that's really a good edition. Also, if you get the 4K, of course you get the 4K and you get the Blu-ray. Generally you don't get a 4K, Blu-ray and DVD. That would be something, wouldn't it? But again, this has got a fairly limited selection of extras. And then on to Shadow of the Cat, another one of these sort of slightly more unusual Hammer ones. Andre Morellier, Barbara Shelley, etc. And again, got a selection there of all the extra. Jonathan Rigby again. I can see again, musical, David Huckvale, of course. And I'm certain, probably, no, I can't see Kim Newman, but I'm certain there's, oh yes, he is. Kim Newman, introduction show. They're always very watchable. I never, ever watch any of the stuff beforehand. Never watch any of the extras. I always, and the film, if the film's really good, I don't mind sitting down and watching it again with obviously the audio commentary. Sometimes if the film is not so great, I probably don't sit down and watch the rest of it again. Or I might watch the first 10 minutes or something just to find out a little bit of the background about the film. This one, Nightmare. I'm yet to watch it. Looks great. I've seen a few images of this, and obviously I always often watch the trailers. If I go and buy one, I generally quickly look at the trailer, or I watch a documentary about it. I think, you know what, that looks the sort of film I'm going to thoroughly enjoy. Again, it's part of their sort of series of psychological nightmares, Taste of Fear, etc. This one's got sort of slightly different selection of special features. Now, it's not part of a standard set that I've got in all the others, but still, I couldn't find it elsewhere. It was released, I think, by Indicator, but I couldn't find a copy of Nightmare in their series. Captain Clegg, thoroughly enjoyed this. This was just great. I love a sort of smuggler film. I mean, it's just, wow, what a brilliant performance by Peter Cushing. I just loved and also all the other rest of the cast were just absolutely. Oliver Reed was in again, and of course you can see Kim Newman there, and also probably got CS. It's probably got musical score, all those sort of things. So again, lots of great extras, and the film itself, I thoroughly, even though they put the cover here, and of course that's supposedly the famous part of the film, but it was a minimal part of the film really. I just thought they sort of obviously have this phantoms, sort of dim church, wasn't it? Dim church, but you could have used many other scenes as well. I'm quite certain. Maybe put Peter Cushing on the cover would have been nice. But they generally go for the poster and things. I'm not certain why they went for that. Maybe they thought that was just going to suggest the horror sort of kind. There's not really any horror in it. It's just really a good old setting smuggler story, which is just great. This one, again, Oliver Reed was in it as well. Of course, brilliant. Oliver Reed's in this, which I thoroughly enjoyed. This one, The Brigand of Kandahar. I think Ronald Lewis and Duncan Lamont were brilliant. Yvonne Romain as well, just superb. Again, limited selection of extras, but still David Huckvale, etc. But I still definitely enjoyed this one. Again, it's got Hammer's Woman. This one, obviously, Yvonne Romain was discussion in that. Worth watching that one. This one was very good. The Pirates of Blood River. The Blood River bit, obviously there is piranha. That's the reason for the thing. I'm not saying that's a spoiler. Of course, it's not much a spoiler, but there is a river that's Blood River for a reason. And it's given away within the first 5 seconds of the film, so I'm not exactly doing much of a spoiler there. But again, you've got a great selection of extras. Christopher Lee as obviously the captain, really good. Very watchable film. Now, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. Vampire Circus, the greatest blood show on earth. Probably one of my favourite ones. Of course, it's got Lala Ward, it's got Lynn Fredericks in as well, and a few other people as well. And very watchable, definitely. What's it? When is it? Again, it's a 19th century European one, village, etc. And Count Mitterhaupt. They always have a foreboding castle. You've always got to have it's a gothic one, isn't it, of course? Now, of course, got documentaries, etc. And also discussion of the House of Hammer. It was a magazine that came out in the 70s. And because of that, of course, I went and got the book. There's a massive book. Des Skin brought out a really brilliant book worth checking out of all of the stories that were included in those magazines. And I thought they were just great. Perhaps not for everyone, but I thoroughly enjoyed this one. This was set in a fashion house in the 50s. And it's a typical standard black and white film, but thoroughly enjoyable. I just enjoyed every minute. 3 Stops to Murder. Tom Conway, also a great rest of the cast as well. Was this the perfect crime? I always love little blurbs they often put in there. He was great. All the characters were absolutely brilliant. It was just a sort of like British Giallo film, I guess, is the best way to describe it. You can near enough work out who the murderer is, but that's the same with Italian Giallo films. I occasionally get it wrong. And in this one, I didn't get it wrong, which is always good. Again, really great. You've got a little book, The Hammer Circle, Crime Files, Blood Orange, as it said. The Blood Orange is referring to a dress in the film, as well as the actual 4K as well, because these are in 4K. The other one, the Quatermass one, also was 4K as well. And I think it's just great bringing these films out in 4K. Why not? Man in Black. This was great seeing Sidney James, it said. And it was, again, it's got exactly the same thing. It's got a booklet, And also you've got the 4K, and I think also the Blu-rays in it. They often have like 1 or 2 discs. Again, check on their website to see what sort of information they got for these limited editions, or I don't know if that was a limited edition or not. However, on to the next one. Quatermass 2. Absolutely brilliant again. And yes, another one. Again, you've got a lovely little booklet, which I think is just brilliant. You've got the comic. Also got various bits and pieces. Sometimes, like I say, I'm not over the moon with all those sort of things. I just think that's a lot. But lovely quality, lovely. And also, of course, inside you've got the actual there as well. So in this case, let's just drag this out. You can see there. And where's the... Oh, the other thing is inside there. Oh, I've actually got it wrong. That's why it's not pulling out. There's actually another case. There's 2 cases. Just didn't see that. And you can see got this. I mean, I just think it's just brilliant. Look at that. Just real quality book there. As always, I always forget one set when I'm doing these various, going through my collection. Either I find it later or I just happen to pass it over it when I'm doing the thing. So let's just go through it. I'll just put my coffee down. And Quatermass, right way around. Quatermass Experiment, this box set. I got this one from Hammer. Absolutely brilliant. It's expensive. Not saying it's cheap, but I totally recommend it. Superb. If you love the Quatermass film, which I do, this is probably going to be the best you're ever going to get. 4K, and comes with 5 discs. You've got some 4Ks. Also, you've got the Blu-rays with the extras, etc. And also, you've got the part of the TV series. Also, you get this really brilliant book. I love the book. Quatermass Papers, Volume 1, it says there. And also the graphic novel as well, which is real nice. I mean, I've read the graphic novel before, so it's not such an important thing. Also, you get some various posters, etc., etc. Please check the website, of course, for all the various things that are included. But this box set, the film itself, is great. Real recommended one. And definitely not one that I should just forget. I always do that. So, on to this one, which I just watched. It just came out. Curse of Frankenstein. Very, very, very watchable. And this one, the Curse of Frankenstein, again, you've got that lovely following through, and obviously a hammer at the back. And again, you get a poster, obviously on the back of that. Again, you've got the double box. It's got a lot of protection. This one comes because it was from the Hammer site. I think it's got this bonus one as well, which is really great. And also you've got the Curse of Frankenstein graphic novel again, obviously the comic book, as well as Volume 1, as it said, booklet as well, posters, etc. Thoroughly enjoyable. Really. This one, 4-side triangle. This is the end. This is the last one of all the various films. 4-side triangle, sort of science fiction film. It was odd. It was very odd. Now, in many ways, I regret getting this one and not getting their limited edition one, because the limited edition obviously has the book, etc. But I obviously, after I got this one, thoroughly enjoyed this one, the quality of this one, that I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and get the other ones, the full-on sets. And it's still got a decent, it's a 4K, you've got a documentary, you've got various other things, but it doesn't have, obviously, 2 new commentaries as well. And that's one thing with a lot of these. You often have like 3 or 4 commentaries, a lot of commentaries. Sometimes it gets a bit too much when you've got too many commentaries, because then you have to you look at it and think, especially if you've got like 3 or 4 discs with different films, with different commentaries, you end up, obviously they're different sizes, different, obviously one for America, one for obviously the UK. I mean, it's a lot of films to watch. I couldn't watch them all in one go. It was just too much. I mean, as much as I love the film, I don't think I can really sit down and watch 4 or 5 Curse of Frankenstein all at the same time. Sort of just watching. I thought, yeah, that would be just too much. But that is the run through of all of my Hammer films I've currently got. Now, I have actually got a few on order. I'm looking forward to the Robin Hood one that's coming out soon. There's also another 2 just being listed as well. Of course, there's always new Blu-rays and 4Ks coming out for Hammer films. And also, of course, DVDs. Some of the films still seem to be only available in DVD, such as Crescendo. Now, another possible source for various Blu-rays, etc., of course, are foreign ones like Spanish or Italian, and it's always worth checking out if you're looking for some of those. And I think things like Crescendo, which I couldn't find particularly much about, that does seem to be available in only DVD at the moment. Not certain why. Maybe there is a Blu-ray. Please put in the comments below if you do know of a Blu-ray for this. Now, this one just turned up. Paranoid. I'm looking forward to watch it. I will definitely be watching this probably the next couple of days. This has got Oliver Reed and Jeanette Scott. So it's got a few features. It's got a making of Paranoid. However, related to books for Hammer, I've got this one, The Art of Hammer. This is a really good book and probably covers virtually all the films. Not all of them, I think. Some, of course, are not included, but certainly a few of the earlier ones. And also things like X the Unknown, I should say, Quatermass 2, Horror of Dracula, all those sort of posters. Really nice book, quite a large format book. Now, this one's excellent. This is a Jonathan Rigby book, English Gothic, and that's obviously features a fair amount about Hammer films as well. And you can see Frankenstein must be destroyed on the back. Now, another great source for a lot of information about Hammer being the Dark Side magazine. And Dark Side have brought out a couple of various Hammer things. And here's one, the Hammer, the Haunted House of Horror. And this is very good. Thoroughly enjoyed this book. It's just got lots and lots of pictures about mainly the horror ones, but also, of course, the psychological thrillers, plus also some of the earlier films as well. So that's really worth checking out. Also, there is a summer special that they released last year. I haven't got it here, but it was a really good book and worth checking out. Another great place to check out is I think it's called The House of Horror. It's a book from Deskin. That's really good. It's got about 10 or 15 different stories in comic book form. And these are the ones that they're including on those Hammer box sets. So they're definitely worth checking out in that book as well. And also this one, which I picked up at the Comic Mart recently, Hammer Films. And this one is the whole stories, it says there, from 1907 to 2022. Obviously a few years missing there now, but this is quite a decent book as well. Got a fair number of pictures, lots of discussion about the various films, and also mentions a lot about the early period, which is one of the reasons why I particularly bought this book. So that is a run through of my Hammer films. I'm certain maybe I will do another one with probably a few more of the Hammer films. And of course, slowly but surely, Hammer are releasing more and more. And I'm looking forward, of course, to the one that's the Robin Hood film that's coming out fairly soon. So that should be great. And also I've noticed, as mentioned, that there's also Scars of Dracula. And I think, Horror of Frankenstein. I think that's also listed for pre-order on the Hammer website. So those ones I'll definitely be checking out fairly soon. So, hope you found this of interest. Any questions, thoughts, please put in the comments below. Bye.